You know, sometimes in college football, you see a day so wild, so unpredictable. It's like you're living in bizarro world. This past Saturday, that was one of those days.
Yeah.
We're talking upsets. On a level that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the sport.
It's true. It's like someone hit the reset button on the entire college football season. I mean, the sheer improbability of what we saw, 4 top 11 teams going down on the same day, it's practically unheard of.
And it wasn't just the quantity of the upsets, it was the teams involved. These weren't just minor stumbles, these were seismic shifts in the college football landscape. We're talking about teams that were considered locks for the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
And for those unfamiliar with that, it's the 4-team tournament to determine the national champion, the pinnacle of the sport.
Absolutely. And to see so many of those presumed contenders fall, it throws the entire playoff race wide open.
Right.
This level of uncertainty, this parity as we call it, it makes for an incredibly exciting and unpredictable season, even for the most seasoned fan.
Okay, so let's unpack this chaos, starting with what might be the most jaw-dropping upset of them all. Vanderbilt taking down the mighty Alabama Crimson Tide. Seriously, if you told me this was happening before the game, I would have asked you what you were drinking.
It's a result that sent shockwaves through the entire sport. Vanderbilt, historically known as the underdog, the team perpetually striving for a place among the elite, managed to not only defeat but utterly dominate Alabama.
We're talking a team that hadn't beaten a top 5 opponent in over 6 decades. They snapped a 60-game losing streak against those top teams, and they did it in spectacular fashion. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement.
And think about the historical context here. Alabama, under Nick Saban, has become synonymous with dominance in college football.
Right.
This upset shatters a 16-year streak where they haven't lost as a 3-touchdown favorite. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, their aura of invincibility is fading.
And the way Vanderbilt did it, it's the stuff of legends. Cedric Alexander, remember that name, absolutely ran wild, scoring 2 touchdowns. Brandon Fontenette snagged a pick 6 that'll be replayed for years to come. And quarterback Diego Pavia, he didn't just play, he outdueled Heisman hopeful Jalen Milroe.
What's fascinating here is that it wasn't just one player or one lucky break. Vanderbilt outplayed Alabama in every facet of the game. It was a complete team victory orchestrated by their coach, Clark Lea, who, interestingly enough, actually played for Vanderbilt.
Okay, so not only did they pull off this monumental upset, but their coach is a former player, adding an extra layer of emotion to the whole story. You can't script this stuff. It's like something out of a movie.
And the fans, they were ready for their Hollywood ending. They didn't just celebrate, they tore down the goalpost, paraded it through the streets for 2 miles, and tossed it in the Cumberland River.
Yeah.
It was pure pandemonium, a testament to the raw emotion and passion that this sport evokes.
Now, as incredible as Vanderbilt's win was, it was just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, this wasn't just a good day for the Commodores. This was a day where the impossible became possible across the entire landscape of college football.
It really makes you wonder what led to such a chaotic day. Why were upsets happening left and right?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's something we're going to explore as we dive deeper into the rest of the day's upsets. But before we do that, let's take a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what we witnessed with Vanderbilt's victory. It was more than just a game. It was a seismic shift, a changing of the guard, a moment that will forever be etched in college football history.
You know, when we talk about upsets of this magnitude, we've got to talk about parity in college football today. It's more than just a buzzword. It's a fundamental shift in the sport's dynamics.
So break it down for me, what's fueling this era of parity? Why does it seem like anyone can beat anyone on any given Saturday?
Well, there are a few key factors at play here. First, the transfer portal has completely changed the game. Players are no longer bound to the schools they initially committed to, which means that talent is more evenly distributed than ever before. A team might have a down year or two, then boom, they bring in a game changer from the portal, and suddenly they're back in contention.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the free agency system in pro sports. It keeps things interesting.
Exactly. And then you have the evolution of offensive strategies. Coaches are getting more creative, more aggressive, and it's leading to higher scoring games and more upsets. When offenses are firing on all cylinders, even a team with less raw talent can put up a fight against a traditional powerhouse.
It's like that old saying, offense wins games, but defense wins championships. Except now it feels like offense might be giving defense a run for its money.
You get that right. And let's not forget the impact of recruiting. With the rise of social media and online platforms, smaller schools have more visibility than ever before. They can connect with top recruits, showcase their programs, and compete on a more level playing field with the big boys.
So it's this perfect storm of factors. The transfer portal, evening out the talent pool, innovative offenses keeping everyone guessing, and recruiting becoming more accessible. No wonder we're seeing so many surprises this season.
Precisely. And speaking of surprises, let's shift gears to another major upset from this past weekend. Tennessee, a team ranked in the top 5, going down hard against Arkansas.
Whoa, I'm still reeling from that one. What was supposed to be a walk in the park for Tennessee turned into a nightmare. What happened?
Well, for starters, never underestimate the power of home field advantage. Arkansas fans are some of the most passionate in college football, and that stadium was absolutely rocking. They call it calling the hogs for a reason. It gets loud, and it can be incredibly intimidating even for a top-ranked team.
Oh, I bet. Paint me a picture. What was the atmosphere like in those final moments when Arkansas pulled ahead?
Pure pandemonium. The crowd was on their feet, the noise was deafening, and when Malachi Singleton, their quarterback, dove into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown with just over a minute left, well, let's just say it was a scene. Fans stormed, the field fireworks went off. It was pure, unadulterated joy.
Okay, so you've got the home crowd advantage, a last-minute touchdown. Was there something else at play here?
I think a lot of people underestimated Arkansas coming into this game. They've been quietly building a solid program, and they have a knack for pulling off upsets. They seem to thrive on being the underdog, and they clearly weren't intimidated by Tennessee's ranking.
Yeah. It's funny how momentum can shift in college football. One minute you're the top dog, the next you're fighting tooth and nail to avoid an upset.
And that's exactly what happened up north, where Michigan, a team that hadn't lost a Big Ten regular season game in almost 3 years, saw their dynasty interrupted by a Washington team looking for revenge.
Ah, yes, the revenge game. Washington, still stinging from their championship loss to Michigan last year, finally got their payback.
And they did it in convincing fashion. They shut down Michigan's run game, forced their quarterback into some costly mistakes, and just completely controlled the tempo of the game. It was a statement win, a reminder that the past is the past, and anything can happen in college football.
So we've got Vanderbilt slaying the giant, Tennessee falling prey to the underdog, and Michigan getting a taste of their own medicine. Like you said earlier, this past weekend was a roller coaster ride.
And we're not done yet. Buckle up, because we've got one more stop on our upset tour, and this one might be the most improbable of them all.
All right, lay it on me. What's this final upset that has you calling it the most improbable of the day?
Okay, so get this. USC, ranked 11th in the nation, travels to Minnesota, a team they haven't lost to since 1955.
1955. Seriously,
Yeah.
That's almost 70 years. You're telling me David didn't just sling a rock at Goliath, he built a whole catapult in that time?
It gets even wilder. It all came down to the final seconds. Minnesota's quarterback Max Brosmer scrambles for the end zone on 4th down. Initially, he's ruled short. The whole stadium is holding its breath.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat then, what?
The replay review happens, and after what felt like an eternity, the call is overturned. Touchdown Minnesota, the crowd erupts. It was their first win against USC in nearly 7 decades.
You know, when you hear a story like that, it really hits home what makes college football so special. It's not just about the X's and O's. It's about the history, the rivalries, the generations of fans who live and breathe these teams.
It's about those moments that defy expectations, that remind us why we love this sport. And that's what this entire weekend was about, a celebration of the underdog, a testament to the power of parity, a reminder that in college football, absolutely anything is possible.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this unforgettable weekend, I'm left with one question for you. In a season where the script has been flipped, torn up, and tossed out the window, which underdog team are you most excited to see?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so much potential, so many teams capable of shaking things up. I think, for me, I'm keeping my eye on those programs that have been quietly building, those teams with something to prove, those coaches who are instilling a belief that they can compete with anyone.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, this season is a blank slate. Anyone can write their own story. And that's what makes it so exciting for fans like us. We get to watch it all unfold week after week, surprise after surprise.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, embrace the chaos, enjoy the ride, and never ever count out the underdog.
Beautifully said. And with that, another deep dive comes to an end. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that passion for college football burning bright.